Our first mysterious place is in Africa. In order to find it, we're taking a helicopter, because from the air they can be seen the best. The Victoria Falls between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Somewhere here, the Devil's Pool is supposed to be located, a bathing spot right at the steep waterfall edge. A drop would be fatal here. We join an adventurous group that are keen for some goosebumps. First of all, we catch a motorboat into the middle of the course of the river. On foot, we cross an island right at the edge of the falls. Then it is time for the hardest part. The last bit of way to the bathing basin has to be swum. Already here the current is dragging on the body. About 30 meters away from the abyss of the falls, we battle our way through the water. The psychological strain is as great as the physical strain on the body. The way to the Devil's Pool is arduous. Sharp rock edges cut into our feet. It is noisy. The constant wind is blowing the cold spray of the waterfall in all cardinal directions. Finally, the pool appears in front of us, about 4 meters wide and 8 meters long, right by the edge. Looming behind it, 110 meters of free fall. And not only for the water, but, looking from this angle at least, also for the visitors of the Devil's Pool. The current is strong, but there are some rules that make visiting the edge possible. At the left side of the basin, the current is very weak. Only if you were to drift off the right-hand side, once you have jumped in, the force of the water would drag you from the pool and send you over the edge. Holding onto something would be impossible. The tension in the air is palpable. The brink is close.
The pool is awesome. It's a drop that scares you a little bit. Like, I'm sure I'll stop there, but if I don't.
I don't know, I'm super scared. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but it's so exciting. I reckon the fear of going down.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
You know, then this is it.
Yeah.
By now, at the latest, the adventurers realize that the danger is very real. One of the guides draws their attention to the risks again.
See this side? There's no rope to protect us. So don't swim this side. If you swim this side, it's a free way to the Indian Ocean without your passport.
Now or never, only from September to December, when the Zambezi River is at low water, is it possible to jump into the pool. Before and after this time, the water levels rise drastically. The speed of its flow rises from 2 kilometers an hour to 30. Feet and hands of a swimmer then don't even touch the rock, and even if they would, against this force of nature, no one has a chance of remaining in the pool. There is no turning back now. The tourists have to jump right into the middle of the 3-meter deep pool, otherwise they'll hit the sharp rocks. It is important to not become disorientated after resurfacing. The deadly exit at the right-hand side is only a few meters away. Once in the water, the current inevitably drags you towards the edge. 2 guides are always watching that no one stands up or drops into the depths. At the end of the pool, the group lines up. The spot right at the ledge is also sometimes called Devil's Armchair. Like a kind of underwater bench made of rock, it lies right beneath the surface of the water. The swimmers are sat on top of it and are clenching on with their legs. The water going over the edge at the moment is only about 30 centimeters high. Due to the low height, the current isn't strong enough to wash the people away. The only risk of dying would be slipping over the edge due to your own recklessness. The guides' jobs are the really dangerous ones here, as the whole time they are stood right by the edge. If a tourist were to panic, strike out backwards and knock one of them off balance, the only thing awaiting them is a 110-meter drop. Jeremiah is 37. For 6 years he has been jumping around on the cliff edge during the dry period, taking care of the visitors. Before, he worked as a mechanic. The risky work environment took some getting used to for him at first.
I used to come here with my brother, fisherman. So first day I was really scared, but the other day I was really like, oh wow, I'm enjoying my life. I'm really take care of myself, but I cannot fall into the falls.
But many of the adventurers are hitting a brick wall, not only because of the cold and the noise. Being sat so close to the edge of the abyss is very stressful psychologically. The only exit from the pool is on the opposite side. The rope helps against the current. So that nobody accidentally falls into the water, a maximum of 14 people are allowed onto the island. More than 7 can't go in the pool at the same time. Because the small island is privately owned, bathing at the cliff edge costs $50. But were the strain and the risk really worth it?
It's a weird feeling because you can feel the water. You know you're not going to fall over, but you can feel the water kind of pushing you up on the rocks. It's an amazing feeling.
Once you're there, it's fine. Like, it's kind of surreal, like, moment. You don't really feel if it's a reality or something like that.
Amazing. Just being there, just over the edge.
You can feel the current, like pulling your legs under. It's a bit surreal, but really enjoyable.
The Devil's Pool at the Victoria Falls, a truly unbelievable place. Our journey continues to Russia. We are starting in Moscow, the Russian capital. From here, we are beginning our search for an unusual structure, the Tesla Towers. On the metro, we are leaving the city to a secret place. In the suburbs, we meet Lena. The 27-year-old German studies student grew up here and knows how difficult it is to gain access to the towers. They are supposed to be somewhere here, near the town of Istra, about 50 kilometers from Moscow.
Но ты один раз слышал что-то необычное о этой башне? Ничего не знаешь? Башня Тесла. Вы здесь не живете? Нет.
Вот ребят надо было спросить.
Но они давно уже стоят.
Угу.
Очень давно, с советских времен, с 80-х годов.
Угу.
Но это раньше пытались электричество, наверное, без проводов пускать.
We leave the town center, but we can't get any further here. This transformer station is another clue. We follow the high-voltage cables deeper and deeper into the woods. Finally, we can see the Tesla Towers, but the property is completely closed off and secured. The entrance gate is being guarded too. No one who isn't authorized is supposed to enter this area. These gigantic structures have stood here for over 45 years, and they are supposed to be able to send electricity through the air. Now that's something we really want to see.
Башня Тесла.
А посмотреть можно?
Нет, сейчас вон начальство приехало, тоже снимают. Приехали телевизионщики вон.
Да вы что?
Да.
Experiments? Scientists? This hiding place keeps getting more and more mysterious. We won't give up. Lena speaks to a physicist in Moscow who invites us to his laboratory, which is in the same building as the exhibition Tesla Hall. These gentlemen are working on the future. They are developing a wireless charger for smartphones.
Сейчас я не могу грузить мой мобильный телефон здесь.
Сейчас в данном случае нет, но есть макеты, которые говорят, что это возможно.
После сколько времени вы будете...
Способны его показать, да?
Да.
Ну, я думаю, день, два, три мы сможем его показать. Ну, именно замеры. Нет, если мы имеем в виду макет, который покажет, что это возможно.
That doesn't sound too promising. The lab also looks a bit more like a chaotic workshop. But the scientists are sure the scholar Nikola Tesla's idea of transferring energy without wires is plausible. And who was this man that even an electric car is named after? Nikola Tesla was born in the middle of the 19th century in Croatia and emigrated to the USA as a young man. He did research in the field of high-voltage alternating currents, which was still a very new field back then. But one of his biggest projects is still unfinished: wireless electricity. Physicist Ilya Simaljuk explains.
Никола Тесла также планировал, установив огромные башни по всему миру, которые были бы источником, которые бы служили, собственно, первичной обмоткой, назовем это так, трансформатора, да?
Transporting electricity from A to B, according to Nikola Tesla, this is possible through a magnetic field that can transport energy through the air. Not an easy endeavor.
Может быть, некоторые секреты он унес с собой в могилу, поэтому, но исследования не прекращаются. И действительно, может быть, когда-нибудь идея Теслы о том, что беспроводная энергия и доступное электричество для всех в любом точке Земли будет реализовано, и это будет, в общем, действительно большим скачком в развитии нашей цивилизации.
Ilya wants to show us in an experiment how this exactly looks. Being able to control energy from the atmosphere, that would be pretty handy. The big Tesla towers work on the same principle. By now we have won the scientists' trust. Ilya calls a colleague who helps us gain access to the closed-off area where the Tesla towers are located. We are allowed to inspect the 9,000 square meter large compound further. The centerpiece of the facility is the 40 meters high tower with a capacity of 6 megavolts. When a bolt of lightning discharges itself on the insulating plates, the wires reach a maximum capacity of 1 gigawatt. With this amount of energy, an electric car could travel 250,000 kilometers. The catch? The length of the flash of lightning is only a couple of microseconds long and costs up to $15,000. Therefore, the facility is not often used. We meet Sergey. Already as a young boy, the scientists love lightning. Today he studies it. In his chaotic office, he shows us his work.
Происходит концентрация энергии, понимаете, он за длительный срок накапливает энергию, а потом высаживает ее за 150 микросекунд. Естественно, мощность импульсная там гигаватты получаются. Ну, как это вы знаете, как и в лазерах такой же эффект. То есть, если посчитать удельную мощность лазера, он окажется от маленькой точечки там мегаватт. Почему? Потому что очень короткий временной интервал.
Sergey wants to show us the experiment.
Так, но самое интересное, что искры не так часто получаются, а вот заряд этот, он легко создается. И вот есть все эффекты, вот, как вы сказали, то есть волосы дыбом стоят, значит, если вытянуть руку, то видны огни святого Эльма.
In his laboratory, he activates the artificial cloud. It reminds us of a steaming cauldron. The energy of the experiment is so strong that our microphones stop working properly. Somehow, all of this doesn't seem completely harmless. Maybe it is an old military facility from the Cold War after all. Sergey's colleague Mikhail denies everything.
Вся эта установка, ее единственное назначение — создать молнию. Именно такого формата установка нужна именно для того, чтобы накопить много энергии. Только накопить, не произвести. Только накопить то, что уже есть. И разрядить ее разом. Это просто способ разрядить много энергии за раз.
Sergey continues charging up the air, but we still haven't seen any bolts of lightning. The groundskeeper tells us more about the experiments from his point of view.
Передача электричества на расстоянии.
А вы где были?
А где? Я дома был. Я в то время на автобусе работал. На рейсовых автобусах.
Но ваш дом, как вы чувствовал энергию?
Сотрясся, что так думал, землетрясение.
The scientists only let the huge flashes of lightning on the Tesla towers happen once or twice a year. For the moment, the Tesla towers are definitely not transporting energy without cables yet. But who knows, maybe we will be able to charge our mobile phones through the air in a couple of years' time. Our search for mysterious places takes us on to Spain. Right in the center of Barcelona, there is a mysterious church. Its name, Torre Girona. From the outside, it is a completely normal chapel. But this church door hides a secret that is closely guarded. We've arranged to meet Sergey Girona. He is not a priest, but the director of the Mare Nostrum. In the center of the church, one of the fastest supercomputers in the world is located. But why is it specifically right here? Sergei will explain later. First, the computer expert tells us what this super machine is actually for.
To identify the future and to identify the unknowns of the universe.
In order to show us how the Mare Nostrum does this, as an exception, Sergei lets us into the most sacred area of the computing center. Inside the glass box, it is very loud. The noise is due to the wind caused by thousands of fans. They cool the processors down. And this is the memory of the computer, a huge store consisting of 700 hard drives.
Every one of these disks is 3 terabytes. This you can have at home. But the aggregation of all of those, managed by some servers, as a single image, provide access to the sum of all the available disk space. And it's huge.
So big that Mare Nostrum could almost save 1.5 million hours of film. And the computer is also constantly being modernized and improved. About 30 years ago, mass was still held here. Today, the mega machine computes as much information in 1 hour as a laptop would in a whole year. Thanks to high-speed processors and tons of network and electricity cables, about 100 kilometers worth are installed here. And where there are cables, electricity flows. The supercomputer is running all day, every day, and it never stops. This means that Mare Nostrum uses lots and lots of electricity. Sergei's computing center gets handed a bill of over $1 million from the city of Barcelona. But every computer doesn't only require electricity, but also a water cooling system that prevents it from overheating. For football fan Sergei, the colors of the pipes also have a special meaning.
This is the colors of the Barcelona Football Club team. So this is funny, but they came this color and we emphasize this is Barca team.
But Mare Nostrum doesn't only make scientists from Barcelona happy. The supercomputer generates simulations for gene research, calculates prognoses for the utilization of alternative energy sources, or for earthquake research. Why it is set up in a church has practical reasons.
We need to have a facility with 180 square meters with no columns, clear view, no interruptions, very high, and this was available space. So we have the opportunity to install it here. But the chapel, don't worry, was desacralized 20 years ago.
So the church wasn't a holy place anymore. But in strictly Catholic Spain, the location of the computer did shock some people.
And a senior lady came here with a granddaughter. And of course, she entered with the granddaughters the chapel and said, "Oh, that was a chapel, it's not a chapel anymore."
The religious images have stayed, but now the building is a huge computing center. The Mare Nostrum, a supercomputer hidden behind church walls. We're continuing our journey in Colombia. 90 kilometers south of Cartagena, there is an island that is anything but typically Caribbean. Palm trees and endless sandy beaches? Not on Santa Cruz del Islote. Because, although the island is only about the size of a football field, there are about 100 houses on it, all right next to each other. Alexander Atencio Caspar is one of the about 600 islanders. He's gotten used to the exceptionalities of life on the island.
En mi bolsa traigo unas galletas que encargué porque en el momento no las encontramos en la isla y me provocó y Jairo me hizo el favor de traerle al Rincón del Mar.
There are 4 little shops on the island, but with so many inhabitants, they are often soon sold out. This goes for living space as well. Each person only has about 16 square meters to himself. In comparison, in Berlin, it is about 250 square meters. That is 15 times as much.
Era una isla, un punto estratégico donde no había plaga. Entonces ellos en su tiempo, el tío Luis en su tiempo, hace 40, 50 años venía de pesca, de ranchería y se instalaban aquí por 2, 3 días y se iban.
Today, dengue fever and malaria are no real dangers anymore, but the majority of the 600 inhabitants still survive by catching fish and feed their large families this way. On the island, there is neither running water nor a sewage system, but still the inhabitants always know how to help themselves somehow.
Se hacen estacas y se deposita piedras, plantas, arena y se le logra robar un poco espacio al mar. Además de proteger, eso protege de que el agua penetre hacia adentro. Porque hay tiempos que la marea sube un poco más.
But the biggest challenge is the shortage of resources. The people on Santa Cruz del Islote have to be very economical, especially with drinking water.
Sí, en tiempo de sequía, como venía diciendo, el agua extraída de las cabañas del frente y un tanque como este de 6 galones vale 1.500 pesos. O sea, es costoso. Podemos decir que sale más costoso que el agua potable que consume una persona en la ciudad en un mes.
Because the water is so expensive, many islanders prefer to collect rainwater. And electricity too is only available at certain times.
Esta está dañada. Este es el generador eléctrico por medio del cual recibimos la luz de 6:30 a 11:30 y cuyo gasto en promedio de diésel de combustible es de 15 galones.
By the way, a mayor or a police station don't exist on the island. But still here, opposed to the rest of Colombia, there is hardly any crime.
Es que aquí no se puede estar solo. Te sientes aislado. Siempre se tiende a buscar una compañía.
The people here live peacefully and simple on Santa Cruz del Islote, the most densely populated island in the world. And we carry on to the island state of all island states, the Bahamas. Fisherman Freddie Grant leads us to the most unusual of all 700 Bahamian islands, and he even owns it, the island of the swimming pigs. No humans live on the 10-hectare small island, only pigs, and they love to swim.
My uncle and my cousins, they put a couple of pigs over here. We started it. They started breeding. We used to use them for hunting, but then they got so tourist attractive, so we leave it for the tourist attraction or whatever. Yeah, we bought the pigs over here like about 15, 20 years ago.
As soon as a boat approaches the floating pigsty, the hogs jump into the 26-degree warm water and swim. Because boats mean food. The pigs dare to swim out to sea as far as 500 meters off coast just to scavenge for scraps from passing boats. That's a long way out, especially if we remind ourselves that the physique of a pig is not really meant for swimming.
I guess the dog paddle, that's what we call it when we was growing up. Everyone learns to swim like that. Keep your head out and just paddle like this. We call it the dog paddle. Well, I guess it's the pig paddle now.
The pigs simply kick with their legs and hold their heads and curly tails above the water surface. And their snouts function as a kind of snorkel. And they aren't only surprisingly fast, but also extremely agile. Like most of the islands of the Bahamas, this one is uninhabited apart from the pigs, but it offers them everything that they need. Enough feed, sweet water springs, mud and shade. And most important of all, no natural predators.
See one right there? They ain't used to humans because they stay in the bushes until they get big like them ones and come out on the beaches. Yeah, they pretty much freaked out like, who the hell are these guys?
The large grown-up pigs, on the other hand, are not scared. They love their daily forages in the sea. Somehow the waste that the tourists have left seems more interesting than the naturally occurring fruit on the island. And so, day after day, they enjoy their own private water park, a Caribbean island just for pigs. On our search for exceptional islands, we carry on to Okinawa. The island is almost 500 kilometers away from Tokyo. We're looking for the small village of Ogimi because the people here are especially famous for one thing, their age. More than 10 100-year-olds live here. That is why Okinawa is also called the Island of the Old. We want to find out why the people here live for so long. Sumiko Taira is 96 years old. Her day always begins at 6 a.m. on the dot with some gymnastics in her front yard. Her early morning exercise routine lasts for 15 minutes. Then it's time for breakfast. Tea, tofu, and of course, gymnastics on TV. Sports seem to play an important part in the life of the great-grandmother of 23.
22歳の時からなぜかというと内地に山口に行った時にそこの職場にみんなまた体操を教えて指導してからみんなこれ体操してから仕事始まりよったんです。それであの頃からずっと。
At 9 o'clock, Sumiko jumps on her bike and goes to the collective field of the village. Her life has the same routine every day. Scientists have studied the islanders for 20 years and have concluded this regularity and the close social contacts within the village play an important part in the long lives of the inhabitants. Sumiko works on the field for 2 hours every day, despite her 96 years of age. But maybe the secret of everlasting health is also the special climate on Okinawa Island, because the clear sea air is good for Sumiko's lungs. Or is it maybe her very personal secret, the fresh algae from the beach? They are full of nutrients and minerals. Sumiko always collects them herself, of course.
洗ったらね、めっちゃいいからこれが金属という高級なものですよ。よく養殖もするさや、養殖もしてるけど、こっちは養殖はしない。
Back at home, straight away, the 96-year-old begins with the preparation of peanut tofu. She eats it daily, as tofu is supposed to be very rich in protein and extremely healthy.
寝たきり知らずに100が来ると言ってあるんだよ。その気持ちでね、人間はね、その気持ちじゃないとよ。寝たきりになったらダメだからさ。寝たきり知らずに100まで生きるわけ。
The balanced and self-prepared diet may be another big part in the long lives of the people on Okinawa Island. At 4 p.m, the highlight of the day, Sumiko meets up with the other village elders to play gate ball, a kind of croquet. The pensioners compete in 2 teams and play with lots of ambition and energy. What does a 96-year-old with such a fulfilled life wish for the future?
健康じゃなければね、いけませんので、健康で100歳まで長生きしたいです。これだけ終わりです。
And the chances for this aren't bad on Okinawa Island, the island of long life. From Japan, we're traveling on to Israel. We are landing at Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. At first sight, it appears to be an airport like any other, but one thing is special about it. It is supposed to be the safest airport in the world. But at the moment, we can't see any safety precautions at all. No soldiers, no security personnel. Then we spot a single police officer, and he isn't even carrying a weapon. He is one of 4 police officers in the whole airport. We want to know why there are only so few, but none of the security personnel are permitted to give us an interview. We're on our way to meet the former head of security for the Israeli president. His name is Shlomo Hanoi. He will show us how the most secure airport in the world works. He doesn't think much of the European security concepts.
If you concentrate to take the mineral water from an old lady, you will never find the bomb. You will never find the Nigerian that is suspicious, because you concentrate on the bullshit.
Hanoi means that the Germans and Europeans haven't understood what it is really all about when it comes to airport security.
People that work in the airport or work in McDonald's, it's not nice to say it, but this is not level of security that can deal with the passengers. That this is not people that train to find the terrorists.
Hanoi wants to show us at the airport how it should be done. Soon, we already discover the first big difference to German airports. Security already begins on the way to the airport. About 4 kilometers before reaching the airport, the first checkpoint is set up. Of course, no close-up filming is permitted here. All drivers are asked where they are traveling to. We also find out that cameras register the number plates. When the passengers drive on, it takes them a couple of minutes to reach the terminal in their cars. Valuable time. If the alarm were to be raised, heavily armed guards in unmarked police cars could stop suspected car bombers in time.
It's a combination between intelligence and security.
Now we have arrived in front of the terminal building. From here on, we have a permit to film. What we notice, road and terminal are separated by a park-like courtyard. But the pretty green area is not only for decoration, just like the thick steel columns that support the building.
If somebody succeeds will penetrate with explosive material with the car, the damage will not be so big here for people and for the construction.
So reaching the terminal with a large amount of explosives is difficult and pointless for terrorists. Already in front of the entrance there is another security check. If there is anything suspicious, the luggage is already inspected here. A bomb attack inside the terminal is therefore almost impossible. But what if an attacker were to shoot into the crowd in the busy departures hall with a weapon? Or blow himself up, like in Turkey or Brussels? Shlomo Hanoi can't divulge any information about this sensitive topic, but among Israeli journalists there are constant rumors that these mirrored windows are used by security guards for observation purposes. It is said that in case of an attack, snipers could also shoot out one of these mirror cabins. These glazed elements can be seen everywhere in the airport, and that snipers are deployed here is not a secret.
They are trained to neutralize the attack in a few seconds. They are trained very good and very specially how to shoot inside or next to the audience. It's not so easy, but they're trained to do it.
Still, we can't see any security personnel. The reason for this is that all armed guards are in plain clothes in order not to be recognized immediately by potential attackers.
They are undercover as a passenger, as a visitor.
We want to see this. We take some time and observe. And really, this passenger, for example. Hours after having received his boarding pass, he is still stood next to the check-in desks and is looking around the terminal. Does he maybe have a gun in his photo bag? He definitely doesn't look like a normal passenger. And this lonely cleaning cart that has been stood here by itself for ages. While the cleaner is mopping behind the check-in counter, he keeps letting his eyes wander through the hall. We notice him, and he notices us too.
Can I see your ID?
It seems as if we have caught someone. Immediately, another employee comes to the scene and asks us for our filming permit. Shlomo Hanoi has to constantly consult with airport management during our filming. This doesn't seem too surprising when you think about all the security precautions here. Then he takes us over to the check-in desks. He wants to show us the heart of the Israeli airport. Here it becomes clear why passengers have to plan in more time than in other airports. The reason for this are these men and women, the so-called interviewers. They question the passengers and, due to their answers and reactions, identify potential terrorists that want to abduct a plane or are planning an attack inside an aircraft.
all of them are recruiting from the army after they serve in the army and they understand the security. Second, they make a long course how to suspect people and to understand what are the suspicious signs in each one.
99% of the questionings take less than 30 seconds. But if you are a Palestinian from an area that is under feud with Israel, you are not handed a boarding pass until after undergoing a longer interview. But sometimes it doesn't stay at this. We hear about full body searches again. Unfortunately, we are of course not allowed to film in those separate rooms. Via the Palestinian humanitarian organization Adallah, we get in contact with a woman who is willing to speak to us about her experiences during an interrogation, but she doesn't want to be recognized.
She asked me to go to the private room, searching in your hair, your body, asking you to take out of your clothes. Of course, asking me several times to go around, touching me everywhere. Every part of you is being touched, and it's very, very disgusting.
What do you feel?
I really feel very bad. Many times I cried. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't bear it. I really cried.
The organization says that these naked searches are illegal.
One of the main problems with our concept, especially the profile concept, that you heard the privacy of people. After a long discussion about it, our goal is to minimize any damage to or any link to the privacy.
The alternative to these checks is an automatic terrorist detector.
If you're a terrorist, then you're afraid to be caught, and then I can catch you.
This machine can identify fear in people. In the future, this machine is supposed to be able to work without touch. It would identify terrorists purely through their gestures and facial expressions, and the machine could be connected to security cameras. Shootings inside the airport building could be avoided this way.
We just now, in the last few months, receiving invitations to do pilots in European countries. It's new.
No one is allowed to tell us if the terrorist detector is really going to be used. But as odd as it may sound, technology doesn't play a very big part at the most secure airport in the world. The principle in Israel is technology can be tricked, our people can't.
In Europe, they look first of all for the explosive material, but not look for the suspect. Here, we look first of all who is suspect, and then we look for the explosive material.
Car checkpoints in front of the airport. Staff that is especially trained for interrogation. And selective picking out of certain passengers. We have experienced what makes the Israeli airport probably the most well-secured in the world. With a safe feeling, we get on our plane, although we are leaving this place a little thoughtful. Our next mysterious place is taking us to China. In the Chinese desert, right at the Mongolian border, there is an incredible building, 40 meters high, over 30,000 square meters large, diamond-shaped structures. But what is behind all this? The answer? It is supposed to be a luxury hotel for rich Chinese people. But why would you build a hotel in the middle of the desert? And why would you go on holiday here? We are meeting the manager of the hotel.
Hello, hi. I'm Julian. Hi, nice to meet you.
Lu Xiaochu is proud of the huge infrastructure. A holiday resort for wealthy people that can enjoy the unique desert view from everywhere inside the building, far from the smog and the noise of the cities.
他就在房间里面打开窗户，出去以后到了阳台上就可以看到我们浩瀚无比的沙漠。
During the main season, up to 300 Chinese families enjoy this view. Right now, it's winter in Mongolia. This means temperatures below 10 degrees and therefore not the best time for travelling here. But the sun also shines during the winter, and the hotel utilises it in the form of solar power. This makes the hotel completely self-sufficient. But also here the rule is China. Different country, different customs.
挺胸，抬头。
So is this kind of training you do every day with your crew here, with your staff?
我们要开运动会，开运动会这是在排练我们莲花酒店员工的这个入场式。
But what is behind the unusual shape of the building?
这个，因为我也是后期过来嘛，前期是我们董事长和设计师在研究探讨，他们也是经过反复的很多年的这个。
In the Buddhist religion, the lotus flower is the plant of all plants. There are many different meanings and shapes for it. From the outside, the hotel is an eye-catcher. So what do the rooms look like? Almost never-ending corridors take us to our room. Bed, TV, bathroom with a shower. The interior is of a high standard, but the view is truly exceptional. But still, this is by far not enough to get the Chinese to come and visit this desert residence. Another special thing about this place is responsible for bringing the tourists here. In the over 1,000-hectare large hotel grounds, there is enough action on offer to satisfy any visitor, including the thrill of sandboarding. And the concept has flourished. After the opening earlier this year, the hotel was already fully booked during the main season. From action to relaxation, for the necessary spare change, there is a lot on offer here. But especially its unique shape makes the Chinese luxury hotel so special. A truly incredible place in the middle of the desert. Our next mysterious place is located in the USA. Welcome to Bombay Beach. These two live in America's most famous ghost town that actually really isn't one. An eyesore under the Californian sun, many ruins and almost no soul in sight. The next supermarket over an hour away. No school, no playground, but still around 100 young and old inhabitants live here, and we are planning to meet some of them. So we are flying to the USA. Here in the southern Californian desert is Bombay Beach, a place that there is more to than meets the eye. From Los Angeles, we're heading south into the desert. 3 hours away, the Salton Sea is located, the largest lake in California, and on its bank, Bombay Beach. The first impression of the town, apocalyptic. Here we have arranged to meet single mother Crystal Vorden and her 2 sons.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Robert and Chance.
What's your name? Robert. Robert, and your Chance.
Not many people stray to Bombay Beach, and a camera team has never come to visit the small family. Normally, the boys are at school during the daytime, but at the moment it is the holidays. This means that there is lots of time for play.
Robert had pulled my shirt down and then he made it rip.
And this is the boys' playground, Bombay Beach, almost the size of a campsite. 150 inhabitants, and right in the middle of the desert. There is a supermarket, a fire station, and a bar. But who lives in such a godforsaken place? They are the last that are left over from better days, and those that don't have a lot of money. Crystal likes living here.
I've been here for 28 years.
And I guess I was raised pretty good. There's no gangs, there's not really any bad stuff going on around here, so that's pretty much why I stayed here to raise my kids. So it's a safe environment. Everybody knows everybody, and you know.
The house belongs to her boyfriend Carlos. The extra costs for electricity and water, $300. Life here is barren. Crystal lives off social benefits and gets $900 per month. But no one here seems depressed. Robert and Chance are happy children.
Hello.
Still, we soon realize the family live on the edge of society in Bombay Beach, but it also has its advantages. The distances are short.
That's my mom's house.
Great-grandmother and great-uncle only live one road further down, and they visit each other every day. But today is a special day. There is a new addition to the family.
My grandma said she was lonely, so I went and got her some. I got her one, and she's like, I need 2 of them.
Here, people stick together and help each other.
We got a church. We got, everything you could want here, I think. What do you think?
There used to be a lot of people here. There used to be over 1,000 people here originally. And then we're down to like about 150.
Okay, how do you feel about that?
Don't like it too much. The town is slowly dying along with the sea.
The Ski Inn. This bar has existed since the 1960s. Owner Wendell still opens it at 6:45 on the dot every morning. His shift is until 4 p.m. and is usually rather quiet. Most of Wendell's friends have moved away, but the memories of them are still very much alive.
Well, it used to be loaded out there, water skiing and fishing, and we used to go out and just drive around and catch 2 or 3 fish, and then just drive around, and drink a beer once in a while.
And do you miss those times?
Oh, yeah.
Now only some tourists that are interested in the ghost town come by. Kerry Morrison is a politician and environmental activist. He hasn't given up on the former holiday town and has been campaigning for the Salton Sea for years. Many people here don't want to accept that it isn't looking good for the region.
It's a different kind of place. See how noisy it is? Okay. And the next stoplight is 39 miles that way and about 39 miles that way, okay? You see the traffic? We love it all, okay? There's nothing wrong with the sea. If you have a skin condition, you get in there, it's taken care of. Because of the salt and the minerals. Mm-hmm. Oh man, you have a skin condition, go in there a few times and it's taken care of. You're looking good, better than going to the doctor.
The alleged paradise has a tragic history. 1976 and 1977, 2 hurricanes hit this region.
It destroyed a number of different homes and restaurants, a couple hotels in Bombay and a few other areas around the sea. And that started the kind of the downward turn for a lot of what has happened in this region.
The population of Bombay Beach sinks from about 1,000 to about 150. But not only is the town dying bit by bit, but also the lake. Its water is contaminated by pesticides from the surrounding farms. Oversalted and full of algae, the reason for the dying of the fish. Additionally, the lake is drying out more and more. Water from the region that would normally flow into the lake is now often diverted to the Californian megacities. If the lake dries out more and more, the people living at its banks are in great danger.
Lakes that dry up, they create really, really fine dust. Under this lake bed happens to be anything that's gone into the lake. And some of that has been some agricultural chemicals, fertilizers, and then some also naturally occurring heavy metals. They don't really affect our health here very much while they stay in the water, but we do not want to breathe that.
So Salton Sea mustn't dry up and needs water. That is what Kerry is fighting for.
So we need the government to take a real step by investing serious restoration funding into bringing water from the ocean and creating wetlands that cover dust. So these two main things are of amazing importance for this region.
The people who choose a life here have to put up with a lot of things. Just going shopping isn't easily done. There is a mini-mart in the town, but it's completely cleaned out. No one seems to have shopped here for a long time. But it wouldn't be Bombay Beach if a sign on the door wasn't proclaiming the reopening. Crystal can't wait that long. She needs to shop now. Together with her sons and Uncle Joseph, she makes her way to the next bigger town. It is the same way that the boys go every morning on the school bus. For this, they have to get up at 5:30 and then catch the bus at 6:20. The drive through the desert takes an hour and a half. Shopping usually means stress for Crystal. The children have lots of special requests, but at the same time, she mustn't forget what she really needs, because Crystal usually buys everything for a whole month.
It's very tiring, especially with two kids coming back from grocery shopping. It's like an all-day trip.
There was Doritos, but I know Trash would want these ones. Yeah, and I would want these ones. So, Mom, I want that. I want that. Yes. I want that. Oh, I want these. I want.
With a fully loaded trunk, they head back to Bombay Beach. Even if life this far out isn't always easy and comfortable, the family is happy in Bombay Beach. And Mother Crystal only has one wish.
I wish for Bombay Beach to grow to be a cleaner, safer environment.
Not much reminds us of Bombay Beach and the Salton Sea being a booming holiday resort over 50 years ago. The tourists that come to visit this place now come out of a craving for sensation. The people that live here don't care about this. It doesn't matter. It is their home. And they haven't given up hope that people will come back here soon to swim.